Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time we're going to be tackling, are we getting dumber? Like, I was thinking about this the other day.
Okay.
I was trying to call a friend, and I realized I have absolutely no idea what their phone number is.
Oh, my God.
It's just, like, gone.
I know.
Just poof, disappears.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like we've outsourced our brains to these devices.
Right.
I mean, how many phone numbers do you actually know off the top of your head?
I think maybe like 4.
Yeah, like maybe our parents, and that's it, right?
It's scary.
Yeah, and it's not just phone numbers. It's like directions, facts, spellings. We rely on our phones for everything.
Did you ever figure out if your Roomba is plotting world domination or just has a thing for running into your furniture? Last time you mentioned it was acting a little strange.
Sadly, the Roomba mystery continues, but hey, maybe it's picking up like strategic cleaning patterns, figuring out how to conquer the living room in 5 easy steps.
Oh man, I can just imagine it presenting its little plan at the next robot uprising.
Oh.
It's like we're turning into those people from that movie Idiocracy.
Oh my God, yes. That movie freaks me out. Remember the part where the guy can't figure out how to use a simple door?
Right. I mean, hopefully we're not quite there yet. But it makes you wonder, right? Is all this convenience making us a little less sharp?
Yeah, I think there's a legitimate argument to be made there.
So let's dive into that. Let's look at the case for tech making us dumber. Where do you even begin with that?
Well, I think the biggest thing is this over-reliance on instant information. We don't have to remember anything anymore because we can just Google it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, think about GPS, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I used to be pretty good at navigating. I could get around new cities without too much trouble. But now, if my phone dies, I'm totally lost. It's like my internal compass is completely shut down.
It's like our brains are saying, hey, why bother remembering this stuff when our phones can do it for us?
Right. It's like we're getting lazy.
Mental laziness.
Yeah.
And it's not just about memory. Some experts worry that this constant reliance on technology is actually changing the way our brains work.
Well, what do you mean by that?
So there's research suggesting that our attention spans are getting shorter, that we're less able to focus for extended periods of time.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely noticed.
Right. And some studies even suggest that our ability to problem solve and think critically might be declining because we're so used to having all the answers at our fingertips.
So basically, our brains are getting a little too comfortable letting technology do the heavy lifting.
Exactly. And the scariest part is that AI is getting more and more sophisticated every day.
Right. I mean, what happens when AI starts making all our decisions for us? From what to eat to who to date?
It's a little unsettling, isn't it? It's like that movie Idiocracy all over again.
Exactly. Are we headed towards a future where we're all just mindless drones following the instructions of our AI overlords?
I mean, hopefully not. But it's a valid concern. We need to be mindful of the potential downsides of relying too heavily on technology.
So what can we do about it? I mean, technology is here to stay. We can't just ditch our smartphones and go live in a cave.
True. It's all about finding that balance. Using technology to enhance our lives without letting it take over.
We'll explore that idea more after the break. I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. Okay, so we've talked about the potential downsides of our tech obsession, but let's not forget AI can also be a powerful tool for good.
Right, like how can AI actually make us smarter?
Well, for starters, AI can free us from all those boring, repetitive tasks that drain our brain power.
You mean like doing my taxes?
Exactly. Or scheduling appointments, filtering emails, all that stuff that takes up so much mental energy.
It's like having a super efficient assistant who handles all the mundane stuff so I can focus on the important things.
Precisely. And this isn't just about individual productivity. AI is already being used to make groundbreaking advancements in fields like healthcare scientific research and even the arts.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that AI system that's helping scientists predict protein structures. What was it called?
AlphaFold. It's leading to some major breakthroughs in medicine and biology.
That's amazing. So AI isn't just about making our lives easier. It's also helping us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning. The potential of AI to enhance human capabilities is truly mind-blowing.
Okay, but what about education? We were talking about how technology might be making us dumber. How does AI fit into that?
Well, remember how we talked about the importance of critical thinking and problem-solving skills in the age of AI?
Yeah, those are the skills that robots can't replicate. At least not yet.
Exactly. And AI can actually be a powerful tool for teaching those skills. There are AI-powered learning platforms that can personalize lessons based on each student's individual needs and learning style.
So it's like having a personal tutor for every student.
Exactly. AI can also help teachers by automating tasks like grading. That frees up their time to focus on things like mentorship and creating engaging learning experiences.
So instead of fearing AI as some kind of job-stealing, brain-draining monster, maybe we should be looking at it as a tool that can help us reach our full potential.
I think that's a much more constructive and optimistic way to approach it. The key is to use AI thoughtfully and strategically to augment our abilities rather than replace them entirely.
I like that augment, not replace. But how do we find that balance? How do we make sure we're not letting AI do all the thinking for us?
Honestly, there's no easy answer.
That makes sense. It's like, a hammer can be used to build a house or to break a window. It's the intent behind the tool that matters, not just the tool itself, right?
Exactly. And that's where things get, really interesting, because it brings us to the heart of that whole idiocracy dilemma. Are values changing, along with our tech? I mean, the movie wasn't just about low IQs. It was about a society that just stopped valuing knowledge and intellectual curiosity altogether.
Ooh, that's a good point. They traded critical thinking for entertainment and instant gratification. And honestly, sometimes when I see people glued to their phones, scrolling endlessly through social media, I can't help but see a little bit of idiocracy creeping into our world.
Right. It makes you wonder if we're, choosing to disengage our brains is the constant stream of easily digestible content making us less willing to delve into more complex topics and wrestle with challenging ideas, to really put in the mental effort.
Okay, now you're making me nervous. So what's the solution? Do we all need to ditch our smartphones and go live in a tech-free commune in the woods or something?
Well, I don't think it has to be that drastic, but maybe we do need to start being more intentional about how we use technology. How do you use tech in your everyday life? Are you using it to learn and grow? Or is it becoming a crutch, a way to, avoid thinking too hard?
That's a good question. I mean, I definitely rely on my phone for a lot, but I also use it to learn new recipes and, research travel destinations, listen to educational podcasts.
See, it's about finding that balance, right? Utilizing technology's strengths while staying aware of, its potential pitfalls.
Right.
And that's what we're going to, dig into even further in the next part of our deep dive.
I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had, a little time to sip on those questions we left you with. Because now we're going to, unpack some potential answers,
Ooh, unpacking. My favorite. I even brought extra brain snacks, just in case, for all those big aha moments.
I love the dedications. But seriously, let's go back to that idea of intentionality. We were talking about how tech can be, a tool for good and, for less good.
Right, like how in Idiocracy, they were watering their plants with Brawndo because all their critical thinking skills were totally gone. That's satire, but it does make you think, are we heading down that same path?
Yeah. It's a slippery slope for sure. And the article, it highlights this one area in particular where that decline in critical thinking might be really showing up: education.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so how is tech impacting education? Are we talking robot teachers, virtual classrooms taking over the world?
Not quite, at least not yet. But the article, it kind of argues that we're at this crossroads. We can either use technology to really enhance learning, or we can let it become a crutch that prevents real understanding.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me the breakdown.
Okay, so think about it. On the one hand, we have all these incredible learning tools at our disposal, right? AI programs that can, personalize lessons and give instant feedback, even create super immersive learning experiences.
Yeah, imagine a world where every student has their own personal AI tutor, one that adapts to their learning style and helps them actually grasp the concepts at their own pace.
Exactly. But there's the flip side, too. The article talks about the danger of over-reliance on these tools. What happens when students get so used to AI solving all the problems for them that they, lose the ability to think for themselves?
Oh, that's a good point. It's like, yeah, you can use a calculator to solve a math problem, but if you don't understand the, underlying concepts, you're not actually learning anything.
Exactly. And that's where like the whole critical thinking piece comes in. The article really emphasizes that we need to be teaching students like how to think, not just what to think, how to analyze information, evaluate different perspectives, form their own conclusions, all that.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually strike that balance? We can't just like ban all technology from schools, can we? I mean, tech skills are important too, right?
Absolutely. It's not about going full Luddite or anything. It's more about using technology, mindfully. The article suggests that schools really need to focus on like integrating tech in a way that actually supports critical thinking, not replaces it.
Okay, so what would that, look like in practice? Give me an example.
Well, for example, instead of just having students write essays using ChatGPT,
Okay.
they could use AI as more of a brainstorming tool, to generate ideas, explore different writing styles. But the actual, core analysis, the argumentation, the critical thinking part, all that should come from the student, like from their own brain.
I like that. Using AI as a partner in the learning process, not as like a replacement for the learner.
Exactly. And it's not just about schools, right? This applies to like all of us, no matter how old we are. We need to constantly be asking ourselves, am I using technology to expand my mind, or am I like letting it shrink?
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
And kind of scary. I'm going to have nightmares about my phone turning into like a tiny little brain vampire, sucking away all my cognitive skills.
Well, hopefully it won't come to that. But I think the point stands, we all need to be like more conscious of how we're actually using technology, whether it's, enriching our lives or just making us, mentally lazy.
It's making me want to go on a digital detox. Maybe spend the rest of the day reading an actual, book, like the kind with pages and everything.
Hey, I'm all for a good book break. But you know what else helps, keep those brain muscles nice and flexed? A good stimulating conversation.
Oh, you mean like the one we're having right now?
Exactly. So listeners, we want to hear from you. How do you think technology is impacting your own thinking? Are you embracing its, full potential, or are you starting to feel a little bit of that idiocracy creep?
Yeah. Let's get a conversation going. Hit us up on social media, slide into our DMs, leave a comment, whatever works for you. We love hearing your, perspectives. All right, Sipsters, we are back for the final round of our deep dive into the tech-brain connection. Did you miss us? Did you, do some deep thinking of your own during the break?
I hope so, because now it's time to put all those brain cells to work and, really synthesize what we've learned.
Synthesize. Ooh, fancy word. Now I prefer to, mash it all up and see what kind of tasty knowledge smoothie we come up with.
Hey, whatever works. Speaking of tasty, though, I think this whole conversation has kind of left me with a bittersweet aftertaste.
Ooh, tell me more. Is it like dark chocolate with a hint of existential dread?
Maybe a little. We've talked about how technology can be both, empowering and, potentially make us a bit lazy if we're not, careful. It's a tricky balance.
Yeah. On one hand, we've got AI that can predict protein structures and, revolutionize medicine. And on the other hand, we've got folks watering their plants with Brawndo. It's a real head-scratcher.
It is. And that's why I think the key takeaway here isn't really about, demonizing technology or praising it, blindly. It's about awareness.
Awareness. Okay, break it down for me, Professor.
Well, think about it. Before we can even start to answer that question, is tech making us dumber? We need to be aware of how we're actually, using it in the first place.
Okay, yeah. Am I spending hours scrolling mindlessly through, social media?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I using those same apps to, I don't know, connect with friends or learn a new language or even, start a business?
Exactly. The same tool can be used in so many different ways. And once we're aware of, our own habits, our own tech habits, then we can start making, more conscious choices about how we actually want to use these tools.
So it's not about, ditching our phones and going off the grid. It's about being the ones in control, making sure that tech is serving us, not the other way around.
Exactly. It's about setting boundaries, being intentional, and remembering that technology is meant to, enhance our lives, not replace our ability to create, connect with each other, all that good stuff.
So you're saying we need to be the masters of our tech, not the slaves.
You got it.
Boom. Mic drop.
Now, before we go full idiocracy and forget how to use a microphone, we should probably wrap things up.
Right. But before we do, I just want to say this whole conversation has, really gotten me thinking. maybe it is time for a little, digital detox. Maybe I'll try reading a book instead of scrolling before bed tonight. Or maybe I'll even, I don't know, try to navigate without GPS next time I'm out and about.
Hey, I'm impressed. Those are some bold moves. But seriously, folks, whatever your relationship with technology is, I hope this deep dive has given you some, food for thought. Remember, technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for, good or for not so good. It's up to us to, wield it wisely.
You couldn't have said it better myself. And you know what else is a great tool for expanding your horizons and, trying new things? Travel. Which is why we want to give a shout out to our friends over at Mickytolife on YouTube.
Yes, those guys are always like jetting off to some exotic location, trying all these crazy drinks and, exploring different cultures. And they document it all in these super fun and informative videos. Definitely worth checking out if you need some, travel inspiration.
Absolutely. So go subscribe to Mickytolife and tell them Sip and Talk sent you. And in the meantime, keep those brains buzzing and keep those questions flowing. And most importantly, keep on sipping.
Until next time, stay curious, everyone.